Mata ki Jaya Jaya.
Bhumi Devi Shri Mata ki Jaya Jaya.
Bhumi Devi Shri Mata ki Jaya Jaya.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri Jai Jai Ma.
Jai Jai Ma Shri.
Take a moment. Allow yourself can flow freely. And let it be a position where you don't have to move. After a few seconds of adjustment, just stop moving. As the body becomes still, allow the mind to draw inward. Draw in all of the awareness. All of the sensations. Draw it all from the outer world inward. Allow that awareness to shine on the world within you. Notice, without any judgment or analysis, just notice what it is like right here, right now, within you. Sounds will come from the outer world. Sensations will come. even thoughts may come. Don't try to push any of this away, but also don't allow your awareness to hook into it. Just allow the random errant sounds or sensations or thoughts to just blow across your consciousness like clouds on a windy day. And keep drawing the awareness back to the noiselessness beneath the noise. To the stillness between the thoughts. And draw the awareness to the breath. Allow that awareness to merge with the breath. As you exhale, allow yourself to really arrive right here into this moment. As you exhale, just let the rest go. And sink into the spaciousness. Into the stillness of this moment. Breathe out all of the expectations, all of the attachments. Breathe out all of the drama, the identities. Just breathe it all out and allow yourself to sink into the absolute perfection of this moment. Sink into the absolute fullness of the self. Slowly bring the hands together at chest level and rub your palms gently against each other. Press the palms over your closed eyes. And slowly lower the hands and open the eyes. I want to do my sadhana every day, but I can't seem to find a flow that really works for me. I feel frustrated that I can't find a schedule I'm willing to follow, and concerned because my practice continues to decrease. What do I do? So the word sadhana literally means spiritual practice, spiritual discipline. It requires discipline. It requires practice. Most of us have been born and raised in environments, in situations, in families, in cultures with patterns that don't have us focused on a spiritual practice as the most important thing. That's the central aspect of life for very few people. And the dilemma with that is that everything else then comes first. So get up, rush into the shower, late for work. Because of course we set the alarm until the absolute last possible minute. Right? I mean, how many people have done this? You work out, what time you have to be someplace. So, all right, so I've got to be there at 9. If there's no traffic, it means I could leave home at 8:30. Forget the fact that there's always traffic. Leave home 8:30. If I eat breakfast in the car, it means I could get up at 8:15, push down the toast while I get in the shower, grab it on my way out the door, and still make it on time. How many people have ever planned a morning that looks something like that? So this is how most of us operate. And so then you say, I'm going to meditate every morning. Well, where exactly? It's not about finding the time in that schedule. There is no time in that schedule. The system is broken. And that's the problem, is most of us try to work our spiritual sadhana into our currently existing system, as though somehow between jumping out of bed at 8:15 and jumping into the car at 8:30 with soaking wet head and hot toast in my pocket, I'm going to find time to meditate. The system is broken because the system is rooted in what's the last possible moment I can get up? What's the absolute most amount of sleep I can squeeze in? With the ultimate highest goal being simply, how quickly can I get out of the house? So how essentially lazy can I be in the morning and not get fired from my job? I mean, essentially, those are the two things we have to balance. Stay in bed where I want to be, but keep the job. Into that system, a spiritual practice isn't going to work. And this is where we have to realize the system is broken. My favorite story these days, I go through different phases of favorite stories, and my favorite story these days is of the student at the monastery. And he says to the guru one day, he says, my mind, when I meditate, my mind wanders all the time. I cannot keep my mind focused on God. I want enlightenment. I want awakening. But I can't stay focused. My mind keeps wandering. And so the guru takes him to the river that flows out in front of the ashram. And he takes him into the river. And when they get about chest deep, he holds the student's head under the water. And he keeps holding and he keeps holding. And the student starts to think he's going to drown and die, and he's kicking and he's fighting for life. And literally at the exact moment before he absolutely passes out, the guru brings him up out of the water. And the guy is, as you can imagine. And the guru says to him, so what was it like being under the water? What'd you think about? And the man was like, I thought about breath. And the guru said, did your mind wander? And the man says, of course my mind didn't wander. I was going to die. And the guru says, when you want God as much as you wanted a breath, your mind will stop wandering. And I love this story because it shows us what's wrong with the paradigm. I want to want God. Of course my mind's going to wander. That's the you should meditate scenario. So I don't have a deep felt sense in my life that there's anything missing. I don't have a deep yearning for anything higher or deeper, more eternal. I'm basically pretty content in eat, drink, be merry, make some money, spend the money, enjoy time with people I like. Somewhere I read or someone tells me I should meditate. Close my eyes, my mind wanders all over the place. Because I don't actually want something in that. I want to want it, but it's not actually calling me. And the first and most important piece is to really ask yourself, is this what you want? What's your highest goal? If you're meditating because you saw an advertisement for a celebrity you love who was, sitting on a meditation cushion with her eyes closed and she's like this and she's looking very beautiful and she's got all of the right, yoga clothes and, and the lighting is just right and there's a beautiful candle illuminating her beautifully photoshopped face and, and so you decide that you should start to meditate. Well, that's not going to hold up for very long. If that gets you out of bed one morning, God bless you. And so you have to really ask yourself, what's my highest goal? Because if your highest goal is freedom from the bondage of the mind, freedom from anger, freedom from frustration, freedom from jealousy, freedom from your ego, freedom from judgment, freedom from the constant commentary in your mind that tells you that there is something wrong with this moment. Freedom from this jail we live in that says this is who you are and I better do more, produce more, get more. If you want freedom from that, if you really want to live in light, not darkness, truth, fullness, wholeness, not for a picture on social media or because it looks like the advertisement, but because that is what inside of you is calling for, then you'll make time. Because that is what you want. And so if you're not able to find time in your schedule and you kind of try it this way and it doesn't work, so I'm not much of a morning person, all right, and then you discover, well, I guess I'm not much of an evening person either. And while the daytimes are really busy, and so it's not my fault I can't meditate. I mean, the schedule isn't right. That's when it's important to ask yourself, what have I gotten brainwashed into believing is more valuable than my spiritual practice? What have I gotten brainwashed into believing is more real than the truth of who I am? More important than waking up? More joyful and ecstatic than connecting with the truth, with the divine? Where did I get indoctrinated along the way? Because of course it's a cycle. I can't get up in the morning because I don't go to sleep at night. And I don't go to sleep at night because I can't get off, whether it's my device, got to see what's being posted on social media, whether it's a TV show, whether I'm gambling online, I mean, whatever I may be doing in the night. That's what keeps me from getting up in the morning. That's where the process has to start. So every night, when you find yourself just watching another show or just scrolling Facebook a little bit longer or just doing something else, ask yourself, is this more important than actually what I took birth for? And if it is, you know what, don't worry. Because the universe is infinitely patient. And if the emails are more important, if what's happening on Facebook is more important, if finishing up your TV show is more important, it's okay. Because eventually you're going to hit a place in life where you realize that nothing is more important than freedom from how you are currently living inside. You will reach a point where you realize there is nothing that is more valuable than freedom from the chains that I am in, from the chains of how my mind works, from the nonsense stories I tell myself, from the nonsense games I play with myself, from all of this illusion. And you start to get that. Gotta get free, gotta get free, gotta get free, gotta get free inside. So if you're not there yet, don't worry. Don't force it. Because here's the other dilemma. thoughtless action, we know, has really negative consequences. If I do things without thinking, we hurt other people, we hurt ourselves, we make stupid mistakes, we say things we shouldn't say, we do things we shouldn't do. But actionless thought is also very detrimental. And if I keep saying, I'm going to get up early in the morning, I'm going to meditate, and I don't take action with that, then what ends up happening is my actual entire identity starts shifting, and I start telling myself I am the type of person who makes all sorts of commitments I don't follow. The fact that every day I say I'm going to get up at 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever time I've decided I'm going to get up, and I don't, and that goes on for a couple of weeks, it's not just that I've missed the opportunity to meditate in the morning. It's that actually how I identify has shifted. I'm now one of those people who doesn't do what I resolve to do. And that's a very dangerous self-identity to have. That is the identity that leads me into failure everywhere I turn. And so it's actually much better to say, you know what? I actually am not yet there to want to meditate. I'm still in the wanting to want to meditate. And so let your prayer before you go to sleep every night simply be, oh God, give me a spark. Give me a spark toward a yearning for truth. Give me a spark toward a yearning to know actually what I'm here for. Give me a spark toward wanting something more eternal, more lasting than the chocolate ice cream cone or the pizza or the TV show. And just pray for that spark. And then sleep all morning long. Doesn't matter. Because eventually that prayer will be answered and you will have that spark. And then when you have it, start setting your alarm to get up in the morning. Because then at least you won't have ruined your whole self-identity. But if you make a commitment to get up, do it. Do it. And here's the thing. We're learning a little bit more year by year about making habits and really making grooves in our minds. And we know that it takes a while for something really to be a habit. I was reading this very, very interesting article a couple of months ago when I was back in America about successful people compared to unsuccessful people. And they were measuring lots of different types of success, not just financial success, but people who had achieved all sorts of success across the board. And what they found was very interesting. It didn't have anything to do with education levels. It didn't have anything to do with families they'd been born into in terms of privilege or not privilege. What it had to do with was how good their habits were. The people who were successful, even on things like fulfilling their New Year's resolutions. So, okay, out of 100 people who resolve to lose weight in the new year, how many do? Out of 100 people who resolve to start exercising in the new year, how many actually do? So all of these different types of success, what they found was the most important determinant of who was going to succeed in whatever they set themselves out to do had to do with the habits that people had. And people who had a pattern of making good habits for themselves were infinitely more successful across the board than people who did not have a pattern of making good habits for themselves. And the good thing is, it's never too late to start making good habits. It simply requires a short period of time of what we're going to call discipline. And then it literally becomes the habit. It's just what you do. And so the article, interestingly, is talking about people who, for example, started exercising as a habit. And they got up in the morning and they went and exercised. It wasn't that they had to force themselves to go to the gym. It just was what they did. And in the same way, let that meditation, instead of being a daily fight, take the few weeks that it takes to really establish a good habit. Every day, without fail, absolute discipline. And then what you'll find is, it's just what you do. But don't expect that it's going to feel great the first few days. Don't expect that when that alarm goes off at 4 a.m., the first morning, you're going to go, oh, great, thank God. Your instinct is going to be most likely, ugh. But when that instinct of hits and you still get up, that is the bridge into freedom. Because the is the pattern. It's the old pattern. It's the pattern of the mind. It's the pattern of the indoctrination. It's the pattern of the laziness. And when in the face of that you actually get up, that's the bridge. And then what ends up happening is these types of habits become those that you have everywhere. And so something happens that ordinarily would really frustrate you or hurt you. And throughout your life, you have a response of frustration, sadness, anger, pain, victimization. But because you've learned to create and cross these bridges, you choose a different path. That same thing happens, but you choose love. You choose peace. You choose freedom. You create that bridge. And then that becomes your habit. Choosing love, choosing freedom becomes the habit. So just start. Don't expect the schedule's going to fit very well. You make yourself fit to it. And then it'll become yours. Does anyone here have any questions? Yes.
Self-confidence means? Self-confidence.
Self-confidence,
Yes. Please explain for me.
He asked about self-confidence. So, self-confidence is not about what I can do. Self-confidence is not, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so capable, I'm so talented, I can do it. The highest and deepest form of self-confidence is, and let me rephrase that, the reason that self-confidence at its highest state is not about what I can do, is there are a lot of things in life that we can't do. A lot of things in life we're not good at. And if my self-confidence is rooted in my skills, my talent, my ability, then I will only feel confident in a very few number of situations. And that's going to confine my life. And it's going to create a situation where I only can do certain things, go certain places, be with certain people, because those are the places, the things that I feel confident about. Real self-confidence is who I am is whole and full and complete and worthy of occupying every square inch of my space here on planet Earth, even if I can't do anything. My simple existence is worthy. My simple existence is enough. And, of course, I've been put here to be a vehicle, a tool, an instrument for the divine flow, for God's work, for service, for love. But it's not about my skill set. It's not about my accomplishment. It's about the unchanging, eternal nature of who I am and how aware of that I am. So real self-confidence is, oh God, you made me. Presumably you know what you're doing. And because you made me, and because you know what you're doing, and because you are omnipotent, you're all-powerful, you're omniscient, you're all-knowing. If you weren't, you wouldn't be God. So what that means is, you know everything, you have all the power, and you made me just like this. Which means I must be exactly the way you want me. Because nothing else fits. Right? If you actually know everything, and you have all the power so you could do things differently, and you've created me, and you didn't get interrupted halfway through and forget that the water was boiling, I must be exactly as you want me to be. And so self-confidence is really faith in the divine. That if I were supposed to be someone different, I would be someone different. But I'm not. I'm exactly who I am. Which means that's exactly who I'm supposed to be. And it also means, by the way, that I've got all of the tools that I need for my own awakening, for my own freedom, and to be the exact perfect tool in the divine's hands. And I may have a very different set of tools than you or you or you. But that's great because God doesn't necessarily want the same thing from each of us. The infinitely different vessels reflect the sun's light in infinitely different ways. The same rain flows upon a garden, the same sun shines upon a garden, but each flower blossoms differently. Same rain, same sun, same soil, but they blossom differently because each of them is a different seed. And in the same way, while each of us is being showered with the same grace, the same presence of the divine, because we're different karmic packages, we're going to blossom differently. We're going to have different fragrances, give different fruits. And clearly that's exactly what the universe wants. And so each of our highest goal is just, how can I blossom as the best flower that I'm supposed to be? Not how can I blossom as her flower, his flower, her flower. How can I, the flower of me? And that's self-confidence. It's not saying I'm the best flower in the garden. It's not saying my fragrance is the best, God loves me the most, look, I'm the tallest, look, I'm the brightest. It's simply saying, wow, I am such a rose. I am such a jasmine. Or I am such an apple tree. Depending on whatever I may be, whatever's supposed to flow through me. That confidence is simply within me. So it's not about, I know you're going to love this project I wrote and prepared and submitted to you. And if you don't, my self-confidence is shot. No. Because my confidence has nothing to do with your approval. Your approval is wrapped up in your own karmic package. Self-confidence has to do with my own karmic package. If in order to be confident, I have to also be wrapped up in all of your karmic packages, well, that's enough to make anyone dizzy. And that's why our confidence, it can never be rooted in you approve, you don't approve, I get an A+, I failed the exam, I got the job, I didn't get the job, I'm the teacher's pet, I'm not the teacher's pet. Because that's all about the teacher's karmic package. That's all about what the teacher's going through. Self-confidence is whether I got an A+ or an F, whether you loved my project or you put it in the shredder without looking at it, either way, what a rose I am. What a jasmine I am, what an apple tree I am. The fact that you happen to be allergic to apples doesn't diminish the juiciness of them or the sweetness of them or the beauty of them. And so shouldn't diminish how I feel about my apples. And that's why it's called self-confidence, not wrapped up in everyone else's karmic package confidence. Because it's about the self. Yes.
But when you think you can do better,
Aha.
you can become better.
Great. So she said, what about when you can do better and be better and become better? And you, I know, are going to be with us tomorrow night. So I'm going to take this as our first question tomorrow night, if that's okay. Yes. So tomorrow we will start with being and becoming and doing better. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Fantastic.